Lucky Boys Podcast.
You touched on something where you said capitalism is the root to all evil.
Yes.
Why do you think that?
You are in a capitalist society and you are working for a corporation.
I am.
Right,
but
so-
I think like a lot of the issues that we have in society from like a general standpoint, not like, oh, me as an individual, but capitalism, I would say, is the root of all evil, because like the people who hold power are the people who hold capital, and everyone else is like working class, or like you're working to.
They're employees. They're not owners.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, you're saying that the people at top, they have capital. So I equate that as more of like, people who are landowners. They own things, you know, while the people below, they're working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
They're employees.
So I think the key difference is the people who have capital, they don't necessarily need to work for their money. The money works for them. And then the people who are like employees, you have to work 9 to 5 or whatever to survive.
You think capitalism is the root of all evil because the people holding the power are dictating in all the wrong directions in their self-interest, even though it's hurting other people?
I think those who hold power obviously want to keep their power, and they use oppression or capitalism as a means to oppress people. So a lot of people have to work 9 to 5 or to live, right? You can't, like in our society, or at least in America, if you don't work 9 to 5 and you're not a person who has a lot of like land or capital or things like that can make you money, then you have to work, right? You're forced to do certain things that you might not want to do. And is that true freedom? No, because you are bound by the terms contractually to your employer to do like these things from 9 to 5 that might not be in your best self-interest. And then like aside from that, there's also like a lot of social inequality or income inequality, which leads to like education inequality. Like all of these things tie back to capitalism, and a lot of like healthcare issues is because of capitalism. You're running hospitals like a business. You're doing like all of these things for the sake of money. And for a lot of people who are struggling, like let's say you're working class, you're working at McDonald's, you're making like minimum wage, you're barely getting by. You don't have time to question society or things like that, or these issues. And that's a privilege that I understand, that I have and I hold. And I think by not allowing certain people to have that ability to critically think, that education, you're not allowing them to make the decisions that are best for them. And I think that kind of ties into why people want easy answers, or like, not to politicize it, but like want those people who claim that they can make things easier for these people who are suffering. But I think ultimately everyone in power, or like the government's also beholden to a lot of these huge corporations, and they have to make them happy some way, you know? So it's like, yo, you give me a little bit something, I'll give you a little something. They make those like tax breaks and things like that.
Where they lobby for their own
corporations.
interests. Yeah. And because they gave that money, now you kind of have to scratch their back in return. So you think that leads to a lot, you think that's the root of all our suffering, human suffering?
Most, I want to say all, but I would say most of like things like income inequality, like access to education, healthcare, things that I really do care about. And I think it should be accessible for everyone. Everyone should have the opportunity and a right to healthcare and education.